Yuri has been actually enjoying the fine dining cuisine we have here in Illinois this week. He's been tweeting about how much he's enjoying it. So we're happy to have him here in America.
Enjoying it so much, as one might say. But I think what's really particularly interesting is that Wolfe in their top 8 match did just face off against a Hydreigon, and Wolfe and Yuri actually played each other during Swiss. Ended up going in Wolfe's favor, so maybe Yuri was able to glean some information from that particular match to come back and make a comeback for this match.
Hopefully for Yuri, he can have the redemption arc of losing in Swiss to your opponent and then beating them in Top Cut. It does happen very often. Obviously, the other way is true also if you have a strong matchup, but it seems like potentially Yuri can be really strong with his Durant as a Dynamax Pokemon. We saw in Top 8 how strong Durant is used effectively when it Dynamaxes. If he is using a bug attack with the max Flutterby, that would be one way to counteract the Reuniclus from trying to set up, as Reuniclus is weak to bug. That's one of its downfalls there. So a super strong Hustle, Life Orb boosted max Flutterby from the Durant into Reuniclus might make Wolfe question bringing it here, or at least leading it in a Trick Room option. Someone else who also gets Trick Room who does much better against Durant would be that Dusclops on Wolfe's side. So he does have 2 different avenues he can go for on Trick Room, and then some of the abusers he'd like to use are that Rhyperior, who can try to tank some damage from the other things on Yuri's team. Not too great against Gyarados or against Durant, but pretty solid against the rest.
This team, funny enough, when we've seen it on stream, piloted by either Justin or Wolfe, actually hasn't brought the Rhyperior as a part of their lead. So it doesn't surprise me at all that that's not what we're going to see either here. Yuri leading with the Togekiss and the Milotic, and we're going to see the Mimikyu and Togekiss for Wolfe.
So at least on turn 1, there is no Trick Room option for Wolfe. He has his Togekiss to match Yuri's there. We can see a potential double Dynamax, as we've seen many times before, out of 2 Togekiss, and they can try to match each other's max Tailwinds, but we saw Mimikyu actually reveal Swords Dance in top 8 on Wolfe's team, so that would be a way for him to counteract Melodic, who is typically trained very well in his defensive stats and can tank physical hits well. It might not be able to tank it as well if Mimikyu is able to Swords Dance.
And that's exactly what it's going for. Mimikyu opting to Swords Dance, but we didn't really see too much coming out from either Togekiss yet, so it looks like they're going to go for the damage. That's at least going to be a significant chunk of damage onto Wolfe's Togekiss, and that Mimikyu's Disguise going to get busted. Togekiss, though, for Wolfe, going for a yawn onto Yuri's Milotic. So Milotic is going to be able to get 1 Hypnosis off and actually ends up hitting, even without a coil.
Why take 2 turns to put something to sleep when you can just hit blind Hypnosis on turn 1?
Yeah, well, that's really spectacular.
That's a great play out of him, even though he was yawned. So at the end of the following turn, if he stays in, he's going to have to be put to sleep. You'll gladly take that trade of putting your Milotic to sleep by getting rid of the Togekiss's actions here. There's no I really wouldn't recommend a Dynamax from Wolfe on this turn, since Togekiss is guaranteed or somewhat guaranteed to be asleep in this setup. And now with a Swords Dance boosted Melodic, Swords Dance boosted Mimikyu, anything targeting that Melodic slot will be hit very strongly.
Well, it might not be time to Dynamax. Maybe it is. You mentioned that
Togekiss is safe for Yuri.
Yeah, Togekiss is definitely going to be safe for Yuri. So that Togekiss is going to get that Dynamax factor and become larger than life, right next to its partner Raichu that just switched in for that sleepy Milotic. And Mimikyu going for the Phantom Force, so it's going to vanish. It's not going to be able to take any damage.
Yeah, Phantom Force, a nice tech that Wolfe has put onto this team that takes 2 turns, and that's why you do it, because it's better than Protect. You're not taking 25% through Protect from Dynamax. You're taking 0.
Yeah, you're just gone.
You're not even on the plane of existence for that Max Airstream to hit you.
Yeah, you're just out of there. So Mimikyu not going to take any damage from that Max Airstream, and now the speed boost doesn't happen for Togekiss or Raichu either.
That's also huge, yeah, because obviously Raichu is traditionally faster than Mimikyu, and then if that Airstream was successfully working for Togekiss the previous turn, then Togekiss would be faster than Mimikyu, so Yuri would be able to double target that slot, and Wolfe wouldn't be able to effectively use the Swords Dance, or the Phantom Force, but he's going to be able to.
No, the Volt tackle from Raichu is going to be able to get the knockout onto Wolfe's Togekiss, which was asleep for the entire thing. And Phantom Force going into the Dynamax Togekiss for Yuri. Now that Max Airstream definitely going to hit, and without that Disguise going to be able to take so much damage.
Bringing the Mimikyu really, really low there. You see, that's a Swords Dance boosted Phantom Force that didn't even do 50% to Togekiss. Didn't even bring it into the yellow, actually, on its HP bar. So that's how effective Dynamaxing is by doubling your HP there, is that this Togekiss is still relatively healthy for its third and final turn of Dynamax.
Ooh, but the Dusclops has the Frisk, so it's going to reveal that the Togekiss for Yuri has the weakness policy, and Raichu is holding the Focus Sash, which would be broken at this point.
Right, yeah, Raichu actually breaking his own Focus Sash with the Volt Tackle. Yuri seeming to think that knocking out the Togekiss in one hit from Volt Tackle is more important than keeping Raichu's Focus Sash intact. I would tend to agree with him there, as now he doesn't have to worry about any shenanigans Togekiss wants to go for the remainder of this game, since it's been knocked out. But now that you do have your Focus Sash broken, a potential attack would be able to take it down here. So Raichu does have to be worried. Since Yuri's two Pokemon are now faster than the Mimikyu, this Mimikyu, if it doesn't have Shadow Sneak, won't get an attack off before it's knocked out.
Volt Switch again going to do so much. This Raichu is able to get 2 knockouts now, but it is going to be able to switch out in this instance, and that's a great pivot for Yuri.
And if Dusclops goes for Trick Room on this turn, because Wolfe was expecting Mimikyu to be knocked out, his sweeper in either Reuniclus or Rhyperior in the back would be moving faster under Trick Room. Even more so now that this Togekiss has 2 speed boosts.
Yeah, absolutely. The speed boost is going to go to the Milotic as well. So Trick Room, if it is the option that Dusclops goes for, and yes it is, then anything that's in the back for Wolfe is going to be moving fast.
Really, really smart play out of Wolfe there, understanding that Mimikyu was no longer his win condition, even though he set up the Swords Dance. He just wanted to get as little chip as he could. Now that Dynamax is over, this Togekiss does not have that additional 100% of its HP, so a rock attack into Togekiss, if it connects, will knock it out in that spot. Melodic, of course, is a great answer to the Rhyperior, though, as it is not threatened super effectively by anything Rhyperior can do, and it can hit it with a 4-time super effective water attack, that being Muddy Water or Scald or any other water attack Mimikyu wants to go for.
And there's a Gyarados as well from Yuri, so that's going to be 2 Pokemon on the field that really threaten down this Rhyperior, but the Intimidate is the important part for this Rhyperior.
Yeah, that's gonna hurt him, and he's not even gonna be -1 with those rock attacks.
Ooh, but an ally switch from the Dusclops, so Rhyperior is going to switch places, so maybe this Dusclops is going to take the damage instead, as it goes for a Rock Slide onto both Pokemon. Hoping for the flinch, but Milotic doesn't end up getting it, but Dusclops avoids that sleep.
Melodic was trying... Oh, it's actually got the Blunder Policy. That's awesome. A move with Hypnosis. It's 60% accurate, so you're going to miss it very often. With Blunder Policy, you actually increase your speed by 1 stage. That hurts in this current moment since Trick Room is up, but that's a great reveal for Yuri to let Wolfe know that under regular conditions, this Melodic has a way of getting faster. This Rhyperior does not want to be in against 2 Water-type Pokemon right now, especially since he's been intimidated and does not have its weakness policy activated. But for this Rhyperior can't switch out. Wolfe is down to his final 2 Pokemon. So what can Wolfe do in these last few turns of Dynamax to take advantage of it? Or these last 2 turns of Trick Room, excuse me, to take advantage of it?
What I think is super great about the way that Yuri is playing this is they're preserving the Intimidate again by switching in the Raichu, but it's time for Wolfe to go for the Dynamax. We saw Yuri go for it very early on in the game, and Wolfe's response is going to be Dynamaxing the Rhyperior, saving the factor for now, and that Rhyperior is going to be able to double its HP, which is so important. It makes Rhyperior such a tank. Dusclops is also going to side proc the potential weakness policy that's going to be on this Rhyperior, and that's going to really hurt either the Milotic or the Raichu on Yuri's side.
That's exactly what Rhyperior needed. Now, he only has 1 increased stage of attack because he was intimidated here, but you still do want competitive boost from the Bulldoze is going to increase melodic special attack by 2 stages. That might not have been an intentional or it's a byproduct of what Bulldoze did, but that's not what he was going for.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all because the max rockfall is going to take out that melodic before it can take advantage of that competitive boost.
That was a crit. I don't know if it mattered. I mean, obviously he's got the weakness fallacy boost, but melodic can be quite tanky defensively. Obviously we'd have to check in later on, do a calculation to see, but for where it stands now, this Gyarados is going to have to switch in, or this Togekiss, who are both flying types, weak to rock attacks, and there are still a couple of turns of Trick Room left, and this Rhyperior has 2 turns of Dynamax remaining also. So Rhyperior's attack is back down to neutral, but at this point, the Gyarados, since it's losing or missing about 40% of its HP, a max rockfall would be able to take it down.
Gyarados going back, wants to try to get this Rhyperior below, below its neutral attack stat. So Togekiss going to come in, but the Nightshade is going to connect with the Raichu. Is it going to be enough to get the knockout? And no, it's barely not enough. So this max rockfall, hoping to at least pick up the KO onto this Togekiss, which it does. Sandstream probably going to be enough to knock out the Raichu too.
Yeah, that's a really great turn with the Nightshade. So it's actually not going to knock it out from Volt Switch here, so he's going to preserve that by switching Gyarados and getting a 3rd Intimidate, which only puts Rhyperior at -1, because that's how strong Weakness Fallacy is. And now, Raichu has access to Fake Out on this turn because he's switching in for the first time here, so he has that Fake Out active that, he actually can't click because Dynamax there, so he doesn't need the Fake Out. If he has Protect, he'd be able to get through the final turn of
But you could fake out the Dusclops.
Well, no, the Dusclops is also Ghost type too, so.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought also, but then I forgot about it. So,
typing.
So Wolfe is actually in a very strong anti-fake out situation right now. If the Raichu can't protect because he'll be knocked out from Sand, Gyarados could potentially protect here and maybe be able to live the max rockfall.
Yeah, Pokemon are going to be moving first for Wolfe, so that Nightshade will be enough to knock out the Raichu. Don't even need the Sand to help it. And the max rockfall too will go into the Gyarados without a Protect, and that's going to be enough to get the knockout. Wolfe's going to take this first game.
That's a really nice comeback from Wolfe because it looked like Yuri was strong in the first couple of turns. He had 2 water types in there against the Rhyperior, and Rhyperior still came out on top, so that's very impressive. Wolfe deciding that what we saw worked so well with this team earlier with the Reuniclus as a Dynamax and Trick Room user was not the effective strategy, since Yuri has both Durant and a Hydreigon in the back that could hit it super effectively. So instead, Rhyperior making his debut for this team or on this archetype in this matchup and proving to be effective even through 3 Intimidates. I think something important on that last turn is that if the Gyarados didn't go, since the Gyarados didn't go for Protect, he might not have it. It could be a potential Dragon Dance or another 4th move as a coverage move on that, or he just didn't think it was important enough to reveal Protect in that matchup because he didn't know he'd be able to live the hit through Protect and didn't want to give up that information.
What was really heads up about the way Wolfe played this is a lot of teams don't have an answer to a back end Trick Room, and that's exactly what Wolfe decided to set up, because normally when you see the Trick Room come out, it's immediate, and then you have some type of sweeper that's ready to go in the back that gets put into the game for turn 2. So that's going to be something that Yuri has to think about when going into this next game, is how do I deal with a potential back end Trick Room setup?
It's something that it really plays mind games with your opponent, because usually when you see Trick Room, you expect it as a lead or somewhat a turn 1 or turn 2 option, and then when you have it in the back there, it kind of made Yuri think that Wolfe's other Pokemon that he led with were the priority win conditions, like Mimikyu in that matchup and Togekiss, and it was not the win condition. It was the Rhyperior, hanging out in the background, waiting for its moment to shine.
It's a cool strategy.
Yeah, it's pretty smart, I think, to try to waste those turns and whittle your opponents down low enough for your sweeper to take them out later.
Well, it's going to be similar leads from Wolfe, but not the same for Yuri. Yuri's actually going to be bringing the Durant and Togekiss, while Wolfe is sticking to that Togekiss and Mimikyu.
Durant is in heaven right now, seeing 2 fairy types on the field for it to go for a max steel spike against this this turn. We have not seen many Togekiss in this regional with a fire type move coverage of either Heat Wave or Flamethrower. So if this Togekiss is similar to the Meta Call, it doesn't have a fire attack to hit this Durant super effectively. But since there are no fire Pokemon on Wolf's team, you might be able to tech a fire attack onto the Togekiss if you have room for it.
Durant goes for the max Steel Spike. The Babiri Berry from the Togekiss is going to mitigate some of that damage, but at least it will be able to... Oh, wow. No, it doesn't hold on at all.
It doesn't mitigate anything.
Never mind.
You would think with the Berry Berry, the intent is to be able to endure a strong attack from Durant, but it wasn't the case there.
No, it was not. I mean, this is the second time that we've gotten a chance to see Togekiss get one hit knocked out. Durant's just coming in strong. And now this Dazzling Gleam is going to be able to knock out this Disguise no problem. And this Mimikyu is going to be a little bit more vulnerable now.
Right, now that it doesn't have that Disguise, it can take damage. But the Mimikyu has Trick Room also, so there's 3 potential Trick Room setters on this team, and Mimikyu showing it off here now, twisting the dimensions. And if Rhyperior wants to switch in this spot, he would be the fastest Pokemon to move.
Yes, it is.
Rhyperior could try to hit the Durant if he has a tech move for it here. But if Durant wants to hit Rhyperior with Max Steel Spike, that would, it's not going to be as strong as he would wish, especially if the Rhyperior goes for Dynamax.
Rhyperior thrives in Trick Room and thrives under the Dynamax conditions for sure. So I think that would be a strong play for Wolfe. But as we saw in that game 1, Wolfe wasn't a stranger to kind of be patient with that Dynamax and really not go for it as soon as they were available.
Yeah, and with Mimikyu here, it does set up Trick Room, but at the downfall of being a traditionally fast Pokemon, that means it doesn't really take that much advantage of its own Trick Room. So this really, the onus is really on Rhyperior on these 5 turns of Trick Room to start taking advantage of it.
Gyarados still being a bit of a problem for this Rhyperior, but the Rhyperior is going to be able to Dynamax here.
Yeah, obviously, it's just what Wolfe needs to do in this situation.
Yeah, absolutely. So Dynamax Factor going to that Rhyperior. No weakness policy activated just yet, but if it does, it will only have 1 extra stage of attack. We haven't seen whether or not this Mimikyu is capable of side-procking that weakness policy, so Rhyperior is just going to have to take this 1 minus stage attack onto this Gyarados, but it's not enough.
Oh, but it will be enough after
with the sand.
That's huge.
Not enough by itself, but the sand helping Wolfe a lot. But wait a minute.
Never mind.
Wait a minute. There's going to be a berry on this Gyarados, so the Citrus Berry going to be able to bring it out of that knockout range from that sand.
And if Mimikyu if this Durant goes into that Mimikyu slot, which is exactly what happened, now he avoided it.
Again, with the Phantom Force, I think that's such a cool tech onto that Mimikyu, helping out Wolfe's position in this game, not once, but twice now. And that's another turn of Dynamax that's stalled out from this Durant.
Mimikyu might be a slow Pokemon under Trick Room because it's actually fast, but something worse under Trick Room is Durant because it's considerably faster. So by Mimikyu being better under Trick Room, he's able to Phantom Force, and it works as like a pseudo protect essentially. Does not give Durant or this Gyarados an additional defensive increase from the Max Steel Spike also. So no damage and no buff either. That's 2 really important things for Wolfe.
Togekiss for the Gyarados' place. Rhyperior goes for the Max Flare. It's showing off that it does have an ability for that tech move, and at that -1 attack, it's still going to be enough to knock out the Durant.
You have to have a fire move somewhere, right?
Wow, a critical hit on top of that.
On a team that does not have a fire type Pokemon, you can't show up to Collinsville. You can't fly all the way here and have no Durant matchup. So Rhyperior showing off the Max Flare was critical.
It was absolutely critical. Mimikyu going for the Phantom Force was probably hoping to knock out that Gyarados, but Togekiss is going to take that like a champ.
Yeah, Togekiss takes a little bit of damage there. Of course, anything can help here, as the Rhyperior is still pretty strong with its Dynamax here on its 3rd and final turn. Melodic does enjoy being in against the Rhyperiors. He can try to hit it with a Scald or a Muddy Water or any water attack that we still haven't actually seen revealed from Melodic. Melodic's pretty slow, especially compared to Mimikyu, so it will be moving 2nd. in this situation. Rhyperior will get the max rockfall off potentially into either Togekiss or the Gyarados, which, as we have the switch out here, that's a nice intimidate for it to lower the attack. But this Melodic can try to go for another blind hypnosis or a super effective water attack.
Mimikyu's attack and the Rhyperior's attack going to fall, so this Rhyperior is at -2. Mimikyu, though, going to switch out, and here comes in Dusclops. Dusclops was the 4th Pokemon that Wolfe brought to that first game that we just witnessed, and here's the max rockfall. Is it going to target down this Gyarados? It is, and Gyarados is already so low that that -2 attack drop doesn't matter.
Definitely not, and now what he can do the following turn is activate his own weakness fallacy from Bulldoze from the Dusclops.
Oh, but you gotta be careful about the Milotic too, because Milodic's going for the hypnosis, but it misses.
Oh,
and there's the
huge.
blunder policy.
Yeah, that's actually really bad. Again, just like in game 1, the blunder policy makes him even slower in Trick Room. So the Melodic is essentially at full health. It only took 1 turn of Sandstorm tick damage there. But from the Bulldoze, which will lower its speed but increase its special attack because of Melodic's competitive ability increasing his special attack there. Maybe he can live a hit now, especially since Rhyperior is not Dynamax, have that boosted special attack and knock out this Rhyperior in 1 hit. That might be what Yuri's game plan is in here to try to force a game 3, because otherwise I don't see how Togekiss specifically is going to break through a Mimikyu and a Rhyperior.
Yeah, gonna have to get a lot of crits if that's the super luck ability on that Togekiss. But I definitely agree with that. But of course, Wolfe still has that Mimikyu in the back, so may as well preserve it, not go ahead and go for the Bulldoze yet until they get that chip damage onto the Milotic or this Togekiss to get the knockouts that they need. Togekiss going for a Dazzling Gleam, which is going to do some chip to Wolfe's Pokemon, but Milotic goes for the Coil, doesn't want to miss a Hypnosis another time.
That's a really cool tech from Coil Melodic there on Yuri's team. I'm sure that's helped him out a lot through Swiss rounds yesterday, and to get here to top 4 today, it will not only increasing his accuracy, but also increasing the defense there. As Trick Room does return to normal, now Melodic is really fast from that blunder policy before, so it'll be faster than everything else on the field, and he can try to hypnosis this Dusclops to stop it from resetting up Trick Room for another potential sweep from the Rhyperior. But if Mimikyu also has the Trick Room, it's going to be hard to stop both of them.
Yeah, so Hypnosis is going to find its mark onto the Dusclops with that Coil accuracy boost. That's going to be no problem for that Milotic to hit. But Mimikyu doesn't go for the Trick Room. It actually just goes for the Play Rough. Togekiss is within potential knockout range of the Sand, but this Air Slash is going to also keep this Mimikyu in range too.
And Sand is still around, so they're actually going to take this damage from Sandstorm. Is it enough?
Definitely
it does
enough.
Take out Mimikyu.
There it is. It's going to take out the Mimikyu, and Togekiss is also going to get buffeted by that Storm, and that's going to be enough to get the knockout onto the Togekiss as well. It's just Milotic versus the last 2 Pokemon that Wolfe has, and this Dusclops is asleep.
And the Dusclops is asleep, so he can't go for Trick Room. And this Rhyperior is about to get attacked from a super strong Melodic with any water attack he wants to go for. So it seems like Yuri, with that blunder policy, prolonging the match long enough to make it through Trick Room, has made him fast enough to get those hypnosises successfully onto the Dusclops there and stop Trick Room from getting up again.
Oh, but Milodic's going to go for a Coil. See, there's another part of that Coil that's really important, and it's going to be that defense boost for the Melodic. So even though this Rhyperior is going to be at full power, it's still going to take those high horsepowers like a champ. But Dusclops lights off, it goes for the Trick Room.
That's why you can't just sit there and hope he stays asleep, because now Trick Room is up. Rhyperior is able to take advantage again, and anytime you want to try to hit it with the water attack, you're just going to give him the weakness fallacy boost. You don't even need it, because Dusclops is going to activate it himself on this turn with Bulldoze.
Yeah, the Bulldoze is, remember that the Bulldoze is also going to activate the competitive boost from the Milotic, so you still have to be a little bit careful about that. So I understand why.
Oh, he doesn't even need it, because Nightshade high horsepower.
Nightshade high horsepower, that's going to be enough to get the knockout. Wolfe is going to be your first finalist.
That is crazy. He was sitting in against the Melodic